this out. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Whether you are watching, listening, whatever, on the podcast, YouTube, and whatever other platforms exist, it's Kellen Cash here. And I want to talk about today. Let's talk about this recent trip we did to Fargo, North Dakota. Let me tell you something, man. I was not expecting that in Fargo, what I saw in Fargo. Forgive me while I multitask on this work break conversation, but Fargo was cracking. Like, if you live on the West Coast or you live on the East, you think some of these states, when they say Iowa or Kansas, which I've lived in Kansas before, or Fargo, you just think, bush country, no one's there. And Fargo doesn't have a lot of people in the state, or I should say, North Dakota does not have a lot of people in the state. But Fargo has enough people for you to get down and be able to expand business wise. It's a nice downtown. Um, what one of the things that I really liked was, one, the traffic, two, the African restaurants. Now I live in Seattle currently. Okay, peep game. The African restaurants. There are more West African restaurants in Fargo than there are in the Pacific Northwest. You have a lot of Ethiopian restaurants. And if you know anything about Ethiopian food, it starts with injera. And that's fine. But when you talk about all of the other cultures from South Africa, West, this and that, there's so much food to be enjoyed. And even with like some of the Ethiopian food, I don't see them going and cooking always what's in the Tigray region, which is kind of north, opposed to what Addis. So we went to three. My family, I always travel with the fam. Three African restaurants in 72 hours or less, and they were all good. Some better than others, but they were all good. All service, everything, food was fine. Went to an African club after everybody goes to sleep. I got to hunt and see what's going on out there. Went to an African club, Africa International. That was awesome, right? The vibe, everyone's just chilling. Everybody's on some. Even the haters, like through the whole time, that devil try to peek his head through. Even the haters had to submit. They had to come down. They try to buck one time and boom, something about that spirit. So my thing with Fargo is that could be the next home. Definitely, that could be the next home because everything was chill, everything was laid back. Rent, I mean, if you got less than $1,000 to live on, you can have yourself a 3 bedroom in Fargo, North Dakota. And yes, it has electricity, it has water, it has all those good things. It's close to everything. I mean, I was shocked at some of the prices. Even when, home, if we wanted to purchase and went around and saw some things and was like, this is a lot cheaper. Like what, 600, 700? I don't know if you can even find anything too much in Seattle now for those prices. I mean, you can, but they go real quick. But in Fargo, you got things that your full basements that as big as some of these houses that go for 600, 700. No joke. I mean, big basements, fully furnished, finished, all that basements. Now, I know people say, "Oh, but what about the winter?" So it's still that summer, fall time. So everything, I saw the best of Fargo, and I heard the winters are brutal, and it kind of hurt me because they said I can't ride a snowmobile through town because I was like, man, I'll just go get a snowmobile and get busy. We can't do that in town. I can do my ATV with the shovel in town and get busy, but Fargo, North Dakota. I'm telling you, I was shocked. It's like 5-10 minutes, depending on where you are in the city, from Minnesota, Moorhead, and that's where one of the African restaurants was, right on the border too. Real good place. Shout out to Spice It Up, I believe it was, and the other shout out. what is for A&E librarian. Mwah! I mean, every and people, everyone is on some kickback, chill stuff. Yes, they have black folk in Fargo. No joke. I saw more black people, especially West Africans, in Fargo than I see in Seattle. Yes, that is a true statement. That's what I saw. And I think I might have saw everybody. I mean, it's like one of those towns you're going to find everybody if I told you stories. I'm walking with the kids. Got my two, LondonandSydney.com. Go get their books. And we're walking, about to get in the car, and I see 4-star general uh, police chief. I gotta stop him. We had a good conversation. Chief Todd, beautiful conversation, telling me what was going on. I mean, he knows his city. Been, police officer over 30 years, and he knows his city. I was mentioning stuff I saw online. He was like, "Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. We got those guys out of here." Mentioned, the condos, 3 million. He told me the top one was going to be $7 million condo in Fargo, and we both were like, who's gonna buy this? Even asked a real estate agent who was beautiful, who's gonna buy these condos that they're just building, so they're not anywhere close to being ready, but you can see them online. And I research all the time, and they were like, we don't know. I mean, we don't know anyone from Fargo who's gonna buy them. I mean, there's millionaires everywhere, but 3 million, 7 million just for a condo. Keep in mind, it's like a lot of square feet, but that's living. You know what I mean? So I was excited. And I love that, being able to supply a city with what they need. I mean, they have concerts there. They have, I think, the semi-pro hockey, and the different teams, and things happen out there. It's just, and everyone is nice. That North Dakota nice is a real thing. They say Southern hospitality, which is a real thing, depending on where you are in the South. But that North Dakota nice, you can't beat that. Yeah, you can't beat it. They don't pay me to say these things. You cannot beat it. So expect a lot of footage for 2020 if that is the move, because I just got series on top of series to give you all that insight on Fargo. I mean, they really rolled out the red carpet. Thank you to Sanford Hospital for the love. It's just beautiful times, and beautiful people. And unlike the South, see, the Midwest, like the South, because people are gonna ask, well, what about the racism or this and that? I didn't see any of that, and I saw everybody working. You know what I mean? I saw everybody working. I asked about the homeless, and I'm gonna stutter a little bit because I don't want to give y'all names of, oh, so and so said this, so and so said that in personal conversation. But what Chief Todd told me, you know, he told me they try to get people services that are homeless. Seattle epidemic, these folks just stay outside in the cold, whatnot. I mean, the city and people try to do what they can do, but when you let your city get to the epidemic that it is now, it's too late. So he's like, we try to get our people services. He's like, I've been to Seattle, and he was like, no, we don't have that where people can just put up a tent and all that stuff. We try to take care of our people. And I talked to other folks in Fargo and said homeless would die here if they, had to stay outside. As cold as it gets, the winters are brutal. So, take care of your people. It's not a hard thing to do, especially when there's jobs, when there's opportunity, when people, want to connect. I didn't get any of that blank, we can't connect that you get in the Seattle and sometimes just the West Coast. People are all on their own, on their own thing, in their own zone, trying to get their own bag, not thinking about how you can collab. So I'm like sold. I'm sold. I'm sold. When you bring nice environments where your kids can actually ride bikes down the street and you don't have to worry about, you know, all the stuff that you have to worry about in big cities. It's like Fargo. Thank you. and we would not have thought Fargo. And you're not that far from Canada. You want to go up to like Winnipeg or Ontario. I think they said it was like 3 hours something drive. You know what I mean? And just get busy on the highway. Um, people go to Minneapolis and all that, and I'll check all that out. And that might be tight too. But Fargo, the things that we can do out there and the time that allowed, that would be the move. And you guys know, my situation is, and we've tried to make it like this, where we can live and work anywhere in the world, no matter what we do, and that we could live in 2 or 3 places if we want to. And that has nothing to do with, what you're paid, but it's how you align your life. A lot of folks, you don't align your life where you can be multifaceted. You stick with one job and that's all you do. I have 10 jobs, because that's just the way I wanted to do things. I look at my board and I look at what we have to do for this person, that person, and that it works. And it's not easy. I won't tell you that it's easy, but it's a blessing to be mobile. So if you can do anything to have your job be mobile, do it. Do it today. Get whatever accreditations you need, whatever licensing you need. Do what you got to do to make it work for you and your crew. And if you're a crew of one, it's even easier. You know what I mean? So, Fargo. What else could I say about Fargo? Oh, man, went through, even with the tailgating. They take that tailgating serious, but it was on some real, just, still on some, you could get through traffic, if you could even call it that. I just love peace. I'm from the big city. I know the big city, then lived in the big cities and lived in the small cities. It's nice to live in the small cities where the Klan ain't rampant, where the skinheads ain't on the county board, whatnot. Because a lot of folks are living in those cities and you don't even know it because you're not connected to the city. Even in Seattle, you have to deal with so much oppression because they don't want to open the doors for certain populations. And it's not just a race thing, it's a young versus old. Like right now, the older generation should be grooming the 40 and up and giving them the keys, and that's not happening. You got people 69, like the presidential elections. You got people who should be thinking about retirement trying to take a young person's job. And that's no diss to anybody, but of course, Trump and Bernie Sanders are the first people you think about that. And you're like, come on, man, sit down. You don't have any new good ideas. All the new good ideas that you have been given to you by young people. You know what I mean? And that you might have thought of something in the 60s and 70s, and that's great, but groom a young person and groom them to take over. Because this is not that game. Like right now on social media, if we're not grooming young people to do social media, what do I look like doing social media? Social media is it's not at the highest level. It's not rocket science. At the highest level, it's not. I know people want to get into, in the algorithm, and if we do this, and if we do that, and if we do this, that's not rocket science. You teach that to a 13-year-old, man. That's not rocket science. And I know, some people say, oh, well, maybe you're just not doing it big enough. Hey, you're doing it bigger for everybody, and salute to you. But I'm all about grooming people. Maybe it's just the purpose, putting things out there that others can eat off of. And if you got a strong team, Dame tried to tell us, man, reasonable doubt. He just used Jay-Z to say it. If we all are winning, none of us can lose, in theory. A lot of people aren't loyal out there, though, So, Fargo. A lot of folks will say, no, but, check out this city. Check out my city. Consider this. And consider family. And consider this. No, you consider all those things when you move or when you don't move. And if you're happy, I am happy for you. But I'm digging Fargo right now. So, we shall see. What happens, and I'm happy wherever God lands us. But it was a beautiful time in Fargo. I'm gonna tell y'all one more time, Fargo. Check it out. Take a vacation. They say don't do it in the winter, but don't do it in the winter. I can only tell you that I think the snow stops. They say usually in April. So look at your May, June, July's, August, September. But yeah, you have full all-wheel drive and you have snow tires. What's the problem? No problem at all. So that's my tips, tricks on Fargo. I may come back with some more game on something else, but y'all be blessed. Make sure if you want to book some time, www.cprfirm.as.me. It's in the description box. Y'all hit me up if you need that personal time and don't have a full time or part time budget. You can book some time as needed.